Fun. We're at the movies with Matt and Ryan. Back to the podcast life just for this week. Because, yeah, the doors were locked, but I found a number to call.
I got a number. How do you like
I was going to make that joke. That's so funny I just did that.
I mean, that's a pretty generic joke, but
yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll be back on the radio show next Sunday. I'm going to make a promise because I saw a number, so I'll call it and we'll figure it out. But for now...
I feel like there's going to be a lot of things to review, too, next week. I'm very excited for Blade Runner. That's for sure. Blade Runner.
Looks like fun.
What's up?
Looks like a lot of fun.
No, Blade Runner is going to be fucking awesome. And then we're probably going to go see Stronger during the week.
Yeah, that's...
And there's a lot of good Netflix stuff I want to talk about.
Yeah.
All the kiddies like the Netflix, so...
Depends.
To talk about. But for today, we just have 2 movies on the docket. Ryan saw neither, so we'll play that game. And then we'll talk football for however long that goes.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. What movie would you like me to start with?
Start with Lego, because you said you had an interesting take on Kingsman, so we'll save that for last.
Okay. Yeah, I saw Ninjago. I saw Ninjago last week, too. Yeah, I've been a big fan of the Lego stuff so far, the 2 iterations we've had. The Lego movie was really funny, really clever, and it really utilized the wide Warner Brothers universe to have a lot of this, interesting pop culture stuff that I liked. It was a very, fast-moving, well-paced, and it's just consistently funny throughout. And I thought it defied a lot of the convention of other animated movies, because most animated movies, they follow the same formula. I think it did a good job at defying that formula a little bit. And then the Lego Batman movie was, really good. A lot of great Batman stuff, Yeah. I definitely had a knowledge of the universe, which was appreciated. So I thought it was really fun. Ninjago, it feels like a McPoyle, It just, feels like the McPoyle cousin of the Lego franchise.
But that's, I don't know, I didn't see it, but that's what I was worried about.
Yeah, I'll get it. It's not terrible. I don't want to say that to start off the bat. Things I liked, the visuals, obviously, for all these movies are really great. This world in particular of Ninjago had a lot of vibrancy to it that is really much appreciated. And I also think there's a fair share of laughs here. You have... The movies have all the Lego movies have a very distinct sense of comedy. I guess you'd call it subversive. And I think some of those gags do land pretty well. I think the movie in general started off pretty decently. I'd say the first 20, 25 minutes were amusing.
Yeah.
But this movie felt like it was copying it felt like it was part of a formula when the previous 2 felt like their own, unique thing. There really isn't much pop culture stuff here, but they try to recreate this really dumb Good Morning America parody. And I think they even have Michael Strahan and his stupid gap in the movie, and they have Robin Roberts or whatever. And it was just really forced and I don't know, cliche. I don't know. It never really was amusing. We have a very talented comedic cast here. You got Zach Woods, Fred Armisian, Olivia Munn, Kumail Nanjiani, and then Dave Franco and Justin Theroux are the leads. But it seems like most of the supporting characters are pretty wasted. They really don't have much to do aside from throwing the occasional gag. And that kind of was disappointing, especially for me, because I'm a big fan of a lot of these supporting players, especially Woods and Nanjiani from Silicon Valley.
When you say formulaic, do you mean compared to the other 2, it just kind of followed the same formula? Or...
Yeah, I'd say compared to the other 2. I mean, the narrative as a whole felt very trite. Like it gets off to an okay start, and then it kind of just, I don't know. The story in general felt kind of aimless, and then but when it was on track, it just kind of was going through the motions in a lot of ways, which is kind of sad to see. I mean, the central thing between Lloyd and his dad, who's the bad guy, and their kind of relationship. I mean, it didn't have any like real depth or emotional value to it. It wasn't handled in the worst way, but it just wasn't anything that special. I don't know. I just felt from like the 30-minute on point to the last hour, the movie just failed to ever really engage me through. Wasn't really that entertaining. It didn't have that much to say. There wasn't. It made the Lego brand for the first time. These movies feel kind of just generic, and that was kind of sad for me to see. It's I'm because I'm a big fan of what they've done with the franchise, and I think a lot of that has to do with the creators of the Lego Movie, Phil Lord and Chris Miller, being incredibly talented. But I think this was just maybe a little too much Lego overkill. Maybe.
What did Phil Lord and then they didn't write this, did they? No.
They had no involvement in this. But they didn't have any involvement in Lego Batman either, and that turned out to be pretty good. So I'm not saying they need to do every movie for them to all to be good. I'm just saying this movie felt like the distant cousin of the other Lego movies. It didn't really understand what made those movies work so well.
Yeah.
Like I can't say I hated it. Was I a little bored? Yeah, I was kind of bored by the end of it because it just came into familiar territory where it's like I've seen this all done before and seen it done much better. So yeah.
Interesting. Huh.
I guess I'll give my rating. I give it a 5.
All right, that's not terrible, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it's whatever. Like I'd rather watch this than Boss.
Will the kids love it?
Yeah, I'm sure the kiddos will enjoy it. I mean, it's not really doing that great at the box office. I just think because Ninjago as a brand, like, what the fuck's a Ninjago? I don't really. That's stupid. But yeah.
Something like that.
Whatever.
All right. Well, there you go.
It was aggressively okay. I guess that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. That's good.
All right. What's next on the docket? The Kingsman?
Kingsman? I'm interested in this one.
I think I hated the first one. I'll just start with that. The first one, to me, it was a generic spy movie for an hour, and then it turned into a just kind of disgusting and off-putting and juvenile movie that, I don't know, I was just kind of like taken aback by all of it. Like the part where Colin Firth, I mean, the movie came out almost 3 years ago, so it's not really a spoiler, where he murdered the whole church of people. It's like, those are all innocent people, and he just brutally murdered them, and they clearly play it for, like, entertainment value the way it's cut and shot. And it's just kind of like, okay. Like,
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah. That was, like, the big
concept. Well, I thought you saw the first one.
Well, no, I did see it, but, like, I was... Because now that the second one came out, I was seeing stuff, like, about it. Like, oh,
you saw the first one.
No, I did.
No, but that's in the first one. That's not.
Yeah, I know, but they were like articles were coming back up about that scene just because the second one was coming out.
Yeah, I just didn't like the first one at all. But I'm happy to say I enjoyed this one a good amount. Like I think this was a steadily improvement over the first one. I know reviews are saying the contrary. The reviews for this are actually they're pretty middling. It's in like the 50% area on Rotten Tomatoes, but to me, I thought this movie had a much clearer idea of what it was trying to accomplish. It felt a lot like, again, with the cousin thing, it felt like a cousin of a Roger Moore James Bond movie, those 70s, 80s James Bond movies that were a lot more colorful and kind of, audacious and ridiculous. And I like that, and I think for the most part, the film tonally it's on the same page. I mean, it has moments where it takes itself and its character seriously, but for the most part, it's just trying to bring a lot of entertainment value to the screen. Let's see. That's the one other thing I think was a major improvement was I thought the characters were a lot more mature too. I think Eggsy this time, like he's still learning, but he's not doing the stupid shit like the ending of Kingsman where he's like, let me put it up your butt and like that. That was just so juvenile. I think a lot of the juvenile shit in this movie was erased for the most part, which I appreciate. I mean, there's definitely still some silly gags here, but they're not quite as stupid.
That's weird. Is it then the same? It's still Matthew Vaughn, right? The director. It's the same
Yeah,
person.
and I think Matthew Vaughn's very talented. I that's why the first Kingsman that really disappointed me because I'm a big fan of Kick-Ass, and that's another movie I guess people could call it juvenile. But he's also done good movies like Layer Cake, Stardust, and the X-Men First Class is really good as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he directed this, and I believe he co-wrote this with his writing partner Jane Goldman. I'm not sure, but I know. Yeah, they did write it together. The cast here is pretty good. Taron Egerton is charming. Colin Firth. I think the dynamic between Firth's pretty strong and has a couple sweet moments. Julianne Moore made for a pretty cool villain, most developed character in the world, but that's okay. My issue with the movie is I think the whole statesman thing was kind of wasted. It's kind of bizarre. Channing Tatum's in the movie for like 10 minutes, maybe, which is, I mean, from the advertising, like
Yeah.
you would think like the co-star of the movie, but he's really not in this movie much. Jeff Bridges also is not in the movie much, and then Halle Berry kind of has very little to do. The main, what is it called, statesman is Pedro Pascal, who people know from Narcos or Game of Thrones. His character was just kind of there. Like he had some cool action moments, but he was just so underdeveloped where it was just kind of hard to really give a shit, especially when a certain twist happens involving his character that you could see coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
But I thought that part was a little overdeveloped, or not overdeveloped, undercooked, is what I meant to say. This movie is pretty long.
Yeah.
It's doing it. To be honest, the running time really didn't bother me as much, just because I think Vaughn keeps the movie moving at a nice pace throughout. It's definitely overstuffed with things. They definitely try to dig into these characters a little more, which I kind of appreciate. But as a whole, I really enjoyed it. I think the action parts are good. They're definitely directed with a lot of kineticism and energy, and that's good to see. The camera, the way, I mean, if you've seen the first Kingsman, you'd notice this too. Just the way he moves the camera from like angle to angle to angle to angle. It all feels one shot.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the sequences seem a little choppier than other ones. I would say the opening sequence, which is a car chase, it cuts a little too much where it's kind of hard to tell what's going on exactly. But
Yeah.
I would say the final action scene in particular was really satisfying. And there's a great celebrity cameo in this movie that had a lot of fun and entertaining moments. For me, this was about as entertaining as any of the other summer blockbusters that came out this summer. Like from an entertainment perspective, I'm not saying it's as good, but
so you'd rather see this than Hitman's Bodyguard?
Oh yeah, of course, easily.
Really?
Yeah, I think because this movie it knew what it wanted to do, and it kind of took what the first one did well and just kind of ups the ante, and I think it had a lot more assured direction and tone than the first one, even though it's the same director. I just thought the first one, it was a half-baked origin story and then a really just kind of shitty attempt at a James Bond movie. I thought this was a lot more in vein of kind of what the original was going for.
Oh. I'm surprised. I'm not gonna lie. When I saw the previews, I'm a was a little worried, but I have to
It
check
was
it
fun,
out.
and I was shocked that the run time really didn't bother me that much because
Yeah, I was gonna.
I mean 2.5 hours for a Kingsman movie seems a little ridiculous. I mean it's definitely 10 minutes too long, but I was never like checking my watch. Like for this movie to consistently keep me engaged, I was impressed.
That is impressive.
You know what? I want to see a Kingsman 3. I'll say that too.
Oh.
I never thought I'd be saying that. I hated the.
I think it's because, like you said, I mean, I don't know, like it improved, and maybe there's even more room for improvement. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some stupid. There's one pretty juvenile scene. I don't really want to get into it. Maybe later off camera I will, but it was just stupid. But it was small. It was like I thought it was like, oh no, it's dipping into the same shit water that the first movie was. But it was small, so I was like, and they moved on, and it's like good, clean your waters with this. But it's kind of weird that both movies has weird kind of scenes like that. I don't know, just off-putting. But yeah. For rating, I go 7.5.
Wow. Damn. That's
What?
impressive. That's high.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of fun. I'm trying to think of the summer blockbusters this summer. I mean, the entertainment value, I think, is right up there with the best of them.
Wow. I'm impressed. I'm not gonna lie.
Impressed? I don't... It's good. I recommend it. People should go see it. I don't know if it's for everyone, but I had a good time.
I'm famished. I haven't seen a movie in quite a while.
I'm famished. That usually means you're hungry.
Exactly. I'm hungry to see a movie.
Well, we'll go see... I want to go see Stronger, so we'll go see that this week.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Oscar contender, maybe?
We'll see the movie and talk about it. But enough of our personal plans. I don't people give a shit about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's get into football.
Pass scored.
Yes. Okay, well, can you talk a little bit? I mean, my mouth, so
yeah.
how about you lead off with some
football?
Observations.
Some observations. Well, I didn't watch the Miami game this morning, but I was noticing that it was pretty awful. I was talking to Trent about it. He said the game was pretty hard to watch. I did put the Pats game on at one point when I was at work, and they're down 30-23 right now, for those of you. I mean, I this doesn't really matter, I feel like, but when I put this up. But, yeah, I mean, New England's defense still has a lot of holes, I've noticed. Carolina's driven down the field like 3 times pretty easily. I will say this, Cam Newton's looked pretty well. Whether they lose this game or not, he's 21-25 right now, 311 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's looked really good right now. Brady's looked good as well, but
I fucking hate other people who wrote off Cam Newton. Like it was so stupid and ignorant because like if you look this offseason, he literally got the same surgery that Andrew Luck got, and he got it 2 months after the fact. So the fact that he was playing, like, he shouldn't have been playing the first 3 weeks. Like, he really shouldn't have. Like, that, it's an easy, like, people are like, oh, is Cam Newton done? Is Cam Newton done? It's like, maybe we should look at this guy who's playing through a pretty major injury. And the fact that Panthers were 2-1 through the first 3 games, like, gotta give Newton credit and the defense, like.
Defense
and if they beat New England, that's a huge win this week too.
The defense is number 1 in the NFL right now statistically. That's what I learned from Fox. But Kelvin Benjamin's looked really well today. And the offense has just had more of a flow. It seems like on Carolina's side of the ball, which is.
Kimberly's a great quarterback. Like
and the Patriots,
I've always been on Team Newton. Like, I think he's a great leader. And you can tell by his success in the NFL, he has way more wins. His win-loss record is pretty good. I mean, that's despite having a pretty shitty team the first 2 years of his career. I just think he's a leader and a natural winner. And he had he scored his 50th rushing touchdown, too.
I will say this, though. Trent and I were looking at this earlier. We were looking at, because Trent's not a huge fan of Cam Newton. He thinks he's a little overrated.
Yeah, Right.
And we
I
were
think,
looking,
how
and we
is
were,
he overrated?
and we were
though?
looking. Well, no, we were looking at the year he won MVP, and they made the Super Bowl the 15-1 year. He only beat 2 playoff teams on the schedule.
Okay, great, but
That's
whatever. Look at his numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I just think like the past 3 weeks have been tough, just because like I think like McCaffrey's still getting like a feel of the offense, and like he's looked okay today. Um, like Benjamin's been underwhelming up until today. So I mean, and the page. I think this was a good game for Carolina because they got a depleted Patriots defense. They could gain some of their flow back, and it's kind of showed today. I mean, New England's looks pretty unimpressive as far as I'm concerned, but
That Carolina team really wasn't that good. So, like, were they as good as their record? No, like obviously.
but they won 50. I mean, they did win 15
Yeah.
games, but that
Yeah.
yeah.
What were you saying?
I was just gonna say like I mean that's tough in itself whether their schedule's hard or not, but like I just think like I don't understand how you can go from that to like last year being like severely mediocre, and like now this year they haven't looked that impressive till today. Like,
I think it's pretty easy to explain. Number one, their schedule was a lot harder, and number two, Luke Kuechly is the heart and soul of that defense. When he's hurt, like they're just a different team.
yeah, he's looked good today.
Cam Newton has only completed 60% of his passes once in his career, and for the most part, that's because their offense has been much more of a deep ball team than other teams. Like even in the MVP season, he only completed 59% of his passes. But Newton, he has the running element that most quarterbacks don't have.
Yeah.
His MVP season, he ran for 700 yards and had 10 rushing touchdowns. Like that's pretty nuts. Like for a quarterback. And that's on top of throwing 35 touchdowns. So for me, when people look at Cam Newton and they're like, "Oh, you can't count the running stuff," it's like why not? Like that's a part of his game. Like that's part of what makes him such a dynamic quarterback, and such a hard guy to stop when he's really working in his element.
Yeah.
So I think people like Colin Cowherd are just very ignorant when they say things like that, because it's literally a part of who they are. Like
Colin's gonna be pissed that you said that.
What's up?
Colin's gonna be pissed you said that.
Yeah, sure. He's really pissed.
In other news, though, it's some two surprising ones here. Buffalo continues to play teams tough.
I think Buffalo's good.
They're beating Atlanta.
I'm so pissed because I was thinking to myself Friday. I was just looking through the schedule. I'm like, no, I think Buffalo's going to beat Atlanta this week, and they might not win this week, whatever. But I think
3.
Buffalo's really good.
I mean, we'll find out anyway. But like right now, as we speak, they're up by 3 with 4 minutes left.
That's another guy who I think is so under. Tyrod Taylor, man.
Yeah. I
hate the shit he gets. Like it's so stupid. Like he's such a efficient quarterback. I mean, he takes care of the ball better than almost any quarterback in the NFL, except for maybe like Tom Brady. If you look at his seasons as a starter, 2015 he threw 6 picks. 2016 he also threw 6 picks, and then this year he's only thrown 1 interception so far. Like to have a quarterback who's consistently like not turning the ball over that much, I mean that's a great help to your team. And he completes 60% of his passes. He has the running ability. I just think he's a great quarterback. Like I'd put him near the top 10 in the NFL for me personally.
Well, he's 12 of 20 right now for 182 yards and a touchdown, which is pretty good against a tough Atlanta. I'd say a tough Atlanta team. And then you got LaShawn McCoy. I think McCoy helps, especially considering they've kind of like fucked him over this year.
At the same time, Tyrod's present helped.
No, I know that.
Boy.
But I'm just saying that the team has kind of like screwed him over in the sense that like Watkins is gone.
See, I disagree with. I think Watkins sucks. Like I'm sick of the Watkins shit. Like he was hurt all the time, and I think they got a good value for him.
Let's take a look at it.
I think Watkins, like I don't know, he never lived up to his potential, personally.
Yeah.
But yeah, that team from a receiver perspective is pretty abysmal.
Yeah. On top of that, the Jets are still playing tough the past 2 weeks. They're playing Jacksonville right now.
Yeah, good. I think Todd Bowles is a good coach. I hope he doesn't get fired because
I don't know what they're doing. They shouldn't be
winning. That team's
winning.
hungry. Like that team wants to play. I mean, they have a good defense. Josh McCown isn't losing games for them at this point. He's completing a decent percentage of his passes. He's not throwing picks, and they're just playing teams tough. And I think I obviously Miami's proven to be kind of shitty. I know they beat them last week, but
Yeah.
I think credit to Todd Bowles. I think he's proven himself to be a good coach, honestly. I mean, they've only had one. Week 2 was their only really bad loss to Oakland, and it wasn't even that bad. They lost by like 2 touchdowns, which
Yeah, that was expected.
that's not bad. I mean, considering Oakland's presence, but
And they lost to Buffalo, which that's a tough game too. And that was in Buffalo.
yeah, it was at Buffalo, and they lost by like 7.
Yeah.
So like that's not like a terrible loss or anything.
Yeah.
One thing I have to say, I'm very happy I bought you out on that Texans bet because, ooh boy.
Yeah, they're looking good all of a sudden.
Yeah, and I think the reason is Deshaun. Like, he's a great quarterback already. He's already like getting in there and really making plays.
Oh
super
my God!
Dynamic.
Yeah, that score. What happened to Tennessee today?
Mariota's hurt.
Still, is that wrong? For those,
I think we're. I mean, I'll take the blame. I think we're a little too. Or I was a little too early to anoint Tennessee. I mean,
Oh my gosh! For those of you, I mean, this game will be over by the time I put this up, and the Texans are gonna win. But for those of you, it's 50. It was 54-14 at one point. So
probably will stay that way.
Deshaun's got 4 touchdowns, 25 for 34, 283 yards.
I'm well and good to admit that
Lamar?
I'm wrong, especially the fact that Ryan cannot make any money off this team anymore because he already was bought out.
What pisses me off, Lamar finally shows up today. He gets me some fantasy points. Nice. It's about time.
Yeah, Deshaun's just a great quarterback. Like he just, I mean, he turns the ball over too much, but
he's the rookie of the year.
Yeah, I don't know. With Kareem Hunt, it'll be a good competition, but. Yeah, this Texans team definitely could win the South.
I just can't believe,
Tennessee was their biggest competition, and to blow them out like this is pretty telling.
Yeah. Same with R.I.P. Cleveland. They're down 31-0 against Cincinnati.
Yeah. Deshaun could be a guy who scares people in the playoffs. Like, especially watching the New England game last week, he made some ridiculous plays that were very impressive to see.
Yeah. No, Brady was he earned Brady's respect. That's a guy you want to earn respect from.
And to have that defense as well paired up with Deshaun, that could be scary.
Yeah.
So I think the Patriots are rooting for the Tennessee to get their act together, or Jacksonville. But yeah, we'll move on to the Bengals game. Yeah, I'm happy for Andy Dalton because even last week he looked a lot better, but this week 25 for 30 with 4 touchdowns, pretty impressive performance.
Maybe it was just like 2 weeks of. I mean, they faced the Browns, but it's nice to get that motivation back.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first 2 weeks it was just not good.
Yeah.
So it's good for him because I think he's a decent quarterback. I don't think he's terrible. Who I do think is terrible. I think Kaiser sucks.
Yeah.
Like, let's just give up on him. He's thrown 8 picks in 3 games. Like,
that's terrible.
Incredibly inefficient with the football. And I think it was just a mistake to start him this early.
They brought in Hogan.
He's a 3rd-round pick. Like, I don't know. And to bring him on that team with not a lot of weapons and they have a good offensive line, but
yeah,
I don't know. I think that was a mistake by the team.
Also, the Rams are winning again.
Yeah, the Rams are good.
This time against Dallas. Wow.
What's up?
Against Dallas, too. On the road against Dallas. Goff, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, what's his name? Sean McVay could win Coach of the Year, honestly.
Yeah, he probably will. If they keep this up, obviously, but I don't know. I don't know. I'm still, like, I think Dallas is still fine, like, but there's, like, 2 weeks where Dallas has just looked
I don't know.
Iffy.
Like,
but Prescott still had a good game today.
They're fine. That's my book.
Yeah. What else we got here? I mean, this game's still far from over. So like,
I wouldn't be saying Dallas is dead or anything.
No.
A little too early.
Pittsburgh. I don't know what happened to Baltimore the past 2 weeks.
Baltimore just sucks. Like I think that's what happened. They just were never good.
But they went from like, I don't know. I guess they faced Cincinnati week 1, so I guess that was an easy win to begin with.
And they
but,
played the Browns week 2. So,
Yeah.
like, why are, you know?
They got blown out by Jacksonville. Now Pittsburgh's up by 10. We'll see how that plays out, but yeah, I
Joe
don't.
Flacco is just bad. Like, he's
Yeah.
just bad. Like, it's that simple. He's
Um,
not a good quarterback.
Le'Veon, for those fantasy owners, Le'Veon is finally looking good. He had a lot of carries today though, 27.
Yeah, that's not looking that good, dude. He's barely running 3 yards per carry.
Well, they're handing it off a lot. He's getting the yards at least, which is different compared to
A rare shitty Antonio Brown game. Wow. Thank God it's the 1 week I'm playing him in fantasy.
Yeah, Flacco. Yeah, he doesn't look good. 15 to 25.
Flacco's is not good.
He's got another pick today. I mean, his defense. Look at his receivers though, like Mike Wallace. Like I don't know.
Okay.
Jeremy
Yeah,
Macklin.
but Mike Wallace last year was pretty good, and like
They're all
Macklin's
like
not
old
terrible.
though.
What?
They're like way past their primes though. Like I
Well, fine, but like you can go like through a lot of teams with quarterbacks. Like look at Tyrod Taylor's receivers.
Yeah, true, but
Yeah,
they're probably
like,
not. They're not like on the back end of 30 though. You know.
Yeah, but who's Tyrod Taylor's a great receiver? He doesn't have one.
But he's not bad. He's had a good game today.
That's my point. That's why Joe Flacco sucks, dude.
Well,
Tyrod. I mean, they're playing a court. Look at Cam Newton's receivers. Like,
well, they haven't played well offensively till today, and the Patriots defense.
week one they look good. Week 1 they look pretty good. I'm not gonna write that off. Your boy Dalvin Cook got hurt. Good thing I didn't take that trade.
Detroit, yeah, Detroit's winning again.
I love Detroit, man. I know they scare me, honestly. I think Stafford is a great quarterback. I think he's top 5 even.
Yeah.
He's just such a good leader, and I feel like any game where Stafford's your quarterback, you're still in the game. Like he's a guy who can really. He's one of the great fourth quarter comeback quarterbacks, I think, in the NFL.
Yeah.
If you have him, you're never out of it. Like that's the thing.
He showed that last year a few times, and
he did that a few times. He did it. He had 7 last year.
Yeah.
7 fourth quarter comebacks. That's insane.
Yeah. No, yeah.
I'm a big fan of him.
Yeah. They look good. I mean, they beat the Giants that 1 week. I watched the Monday night.
Last week they should have beat Atlanta if it wasn't for they overturned the touchdown and then they had 10-second runoff due to the challenge.
Yeah.
They were on the 1 yard line. They pretty much should have won. The refs kind of screwed them.
Today he has, not bad. He doesn't have a touchdown pass, but I mean he's facing one of the best defenses in the league.
His stats are never flashy. I think that's the issue with a lot of people. They look at, he threw for 190 yards. Like, okay, but who gives a shit? Like,
well, they're facing a tough Minnesota defense, so I mean,
like against the Giants, he threw for 130 yards, Like, I watched that whole Giants game, and the whole game, he looked like he was just in control. Like, he played very confidently against a team that a lot of people think has a great defense. And he gets a little too much flack, I think, in my book. Or in most people's book. But, yeah.
Too much Flacco.
All right, fuck Joe Flacco.
Well, I think that's all the games. At least, I mean...
Well, I want to talk a little bit about the morning game. Jay Cutler sucks, and the fact that they thought bringing him in, they should have just started Matt Moore. Like, what's the difference?
I've said that. I said that last year when Tannehill was hurt. I'm like, there's no difference. They're just going to be the same team in the playoffs.
Yeah, and Matt Moore is like a decent quarterback. Like he's not gonna lose you games like Jay Cutler. Ryan, the funniest thing after this, you need to go watch it.
Yeah.
They did a wildcat play where Jay Cutler was the receiver, and he literally they hiked it, and he didn't move at all.
Really?
It was like in the whole play, he had his hands on his shoulders. It was like the most
what?
I don't give a shit play ever. It was hilarious.
It's typical Cutler. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he's a bum. He's a loser. Adam Gase. I think he's a decent coach, but it's time to move on. The Saints are the worst defense in the NFL, and you're getting shut out by them. Like, that's embarrassing.
Hey, the Saints have looked decent the past 2 or 3 weeks. Like they're whatever, Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that. Actually, we might as well talk about it now. NFC. Who do you think division wild cards. Let's kind of go through. So we'll go the East. Who do you think's gonna win that division?
I'm still gonna go with Dallas. I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
I think Philly has a shot though. I mean, I don't know. They're poorly coached, but at the same time, I think they have a decent shot. The South, Atlanta, we both say.
Yeah,
I
I'd
guess.
say Atlanta.
The North, we going with the Pack.
Yeah, I gotta go with the Packers.
And then the West, Seattle.
Seattle. Yeah, we shouldn't have overthinked anything. I definitely was overthinking the South.
But
Wild card.
we'll go in 1 second. We'll go into the wild cards now, but that's a lot more interesting because you have Tampa, New Orleans, who else? Philly, Detroit, Minnesota. Like, who do you think will be all the wild cards? You got to pick two.
I'm gonna go Tampa, and I'm gonna go with. Oh, do I want? No, I don't want to pick them. I'm gonna go with Minnesota.
Tampa and Minnesota.
Yeah.
So why no Detroit?
I just think that Minnesota's got a better defense, and if Bradford somehow stays healthy, I think he's got more confidence this year, and he's gained that confidence.
Yeah, but he's how long is he out for? He might be out for like the whole year.
But I even think with Case Keenum, they're fine. Like whatever, they're playing.
Yeah, they're fine. They
a
have
tough
7
Detroit
points
team
against
today.
Detroit.
They're playing a tough Detroit team. They're both. I think it'll be close.
I think Detroit's better than Minnesota.
I just think Minnesota.
I think they have a worse team. I think the NFL is a league of quarterbacks. If you have a great quarterback, you're a playoff team. And
Well,
I think I put my chips on Stafford, man. He's a flimsy play away from being 3-0.
Yeah.
You know, so for me, if I had to pick wild cards, I'd pick Detroit, and then that second one, we didn't. Oh, I forgot the Rams too. I mean, the Rams are up by 8 now. Like,
Yeah.
the Rams. The thing with the Rams, they could be this year's Dolphins just because they have such an easy schedule. I mean, I'll pull it up right now, but
Yeah.
they play in that division against Arizona and the 49ers. Like, that should be easy wins, but. They have next week Seattle. That's a loss probably, but then Jacksonville, Arizona, New York, Houston, Minnesota, Saints, Cardinals, Eagles, and then they end with Titans, 49ers. I mean, that could easily be an 8-8.
I was thinking that was the
schedule.
team I was gonna pick when I said, "Oh, I'm not gonna pick them." But St. Louis is another option I had.
I mean, Carolina could be a
it's
wild
LA.
card. The NFC, there's so many like teams in that. Like,
Yeah.
like the divisions seem pretty sure cut. But the wild cards, like, there's so many teams that really could
Yeah.
get there.
I
So
don't totally know, but like I just think that Minnesota. I've watched Minnesota actually quite a bit this year, and I've been quite impressed with them. So I didn't
Me
watch
too.
them.
But I think Minnesota has a great team. They're just missing a quarterback. Like, that's my issue with them.
You could get
I
through
really
playoffs,
think they
though.
should try to invest. Like, imagine if they traded up for freaking Deshaun. Like,
Yeah. And any
they're a
team.
great quarterback away, or even like just an exciting quarterback away from being like a great team. Like, honestly.
Yeah. I can't believe anyone like didn't pick Deshaun. Like even watching the draft, I'm like,
I can't believe he wasn't the first quarterback.
That's
taken.
what I'm saying.
That makes no sense.
I didn't
Like,
understand. Did people watch? People overthink like literally everything. Like, he's in the spread offense or something. Like, no, who cares? Like he friggin' pulled off like one of the best upsets of our generation in college
against
football.
Alabama's defense too, which is like
Which is like
one of the great
a
defenses.
fucking stone wall every year. Like, come on, like stop
I agree.
overthinking.
I mean, for people who saw our stupid draft special, they would know we were both big fans of Deshaun coming out of college. I thought the Mitch pick, I mean, he looked good in the preseason. I just thought it was stupid.
Yeah.
Like, the trade was dumb, obviously, that too. But I would just much rather Deshaun as a quarterback, just because I think he showed an ability to lead and to win.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah. That was dumb, but.
All right, well, we'll go on to AFC real quick. So for divisions, New England in the East, yes.
North.
Pittsburgh in the North,
yeah.
yes. The South, I'm hopping on your Houston bandwagon, Ryan. I know you gave up on them, but I'm hopping
since I already gave up on them, I'm gonna pick Jacksonville.
No way. No way. No.
No, I gotta pick Houston. They've just looked the most impressive. Like.
Now the West, I think, is the interesting one. We got Kansas City, Oakland, Denver.
I'm going Kansas City all the way. I have to at this point. I picked them as a wild card, but after watching Derek Carr throw a hissy fit when his team was losing.
That was a really ugly game.
Yeah.
What the? Derek Carr just looked like a little pissy teenage boy the whole game.
I don't know why.
Run your route.
I know it's only one game, but it turned me off because they didn't lose a lot last year, and they didn't lose any stupid games last year either. And that's why I think Derek Carr looks so impressive. And now this year,
oh shit! I completely forgot to mention Washington even in the wild card hunt. Oh my, the NFC is stacked with just interesting teams.
I mean, Oakland will make it, but wild card probably. They could have two. They could probably have two out of that division.
Yeah, Denver. It's all about how well Simeon holds up going forward. But yeah. I like Denver's defense a lot, and C.J. Anderson I think is one of the better running backs in the NFL. So I think they're pretty good.
Yeah. So
the AFC is interesting too because so we have the division winners. I'll go with Kansas City in the West. Why not?
Yeah.
So you have Oakland, you have Denver, you have Buffalo, you have Jacksonville, you have Tennessee, and I'm throwing in Cincinnati. I'm just, if they play like they had the past 2 weeks, who knows? But
I think
so. Who do you think the wild cards are there?
I think it's definitely gonna be Oakland. I mean, I don't like to base off of 1 week. Tennessee got absolutely demolished today, but that's a terrible loss. So, I mean, it's not something I could just look past. But I'm definitely gonna. I want to say Denver. I really do. I want to say Denver too.
I might go Oakland and Buffalo. Honestly.
Oh. Buffalo.
I think if Buffalo can beat New England once, which I think they have a shot. I mean, who knows? Next week, I don't know. I like Tyrod. I'm a big fan of his, and I think they're really well coached. Sean McDermott, I think he's proven himself to be a great coach. They have a great defense. As long as they can establish the running game and Tyrod takes care of the ball, I could see them. I know it's between Buffalo and Denver. Denver, the only thing that really worries me is I think Simeon, he just doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
He always gets hurt near the end of the year, and he just doesn't play as well.
Yeah.
But I could see Jacksonville, too, honestly. As long as Blake Bortles doesn't turn the ball over 20 times,
yeah,
I could see it with them.
Yeah, they've looked impressive. Today, I didn't really watch today, but just based off the score and everything.
They're in the red zone against the Jets, so.
Yeah, with a minute 40 left, so we'll see how that goes. But
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll do our night picks and then we'll call it a show. So what's the games?
So I got it right here. So we have India. This is an iffy one. Indianapolis and Seattle. It's kind of an iffy one. I'm gonna go with Seattle though. I don't think Indianapolis is gonna win on the road.
Wait, you picked Indianapolis?
No, I picked Seattle. I said I don't.
Okay. I was like, what?
I don't think Indianapolis is winning on the road.
Yeah, give me Seattle. They're 1-2. They're not in the position where they can be effing around. So
but
I'll pick Seattle.
Let's just say this though: the Monday night game is the exact opposite of tonight's. Washington, Kansas City. Now that's a good one. I hope.
Yeah, I mean, Kirk Cousins looked kind of iffy the first 2 weeks, but. The last week he looked really good. He made a lot of good throws, and I know a lot of people were quick to, he doesn't have the receivers this year. I think he's a legitimately really good quarterback.
Yeah,
I think he's as good as Matt Ryan.
He's got a chip on his shoulder.
Disagree. What?
He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got that franchise tag. It's motivation,
If Kirk Cousins had Julio Jones to throw to, he could easily put up Matt Ryan numbers. I think Kirk Cousins top 10. He's in my book.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
I'll say Kansas City. I'm gonna keep.
I'm gonna look where the game is because I'm not sure where it is.
It's in Kansas City.
It's in Kansas City. Yeah,
It's at the Arrowhead.
I gotta pick Kansas City then. Just because that's a good home field.
I will say this though, I won't be surprised if Washington won because they've done it a couple
I
times
wouldn't
this
either.
year. A couple times this year they've surprised me, so I wouldn't be surprised if they won.
Trying to look what were the week 2 games. Oh wait, I have a 1-game lead because you picked the shitty Giants over Detroit.
Yeah.
Thank God.
And
then we both picked Green Bay. So I'm trying to figure out our records. You can keep talking.
But yeah, I think it's going to be tough. You have to also take into account Washington is traveling across the country. I mean, it is a long week, which is nice, but I mean, they surprised me when they beat Oakland. I mean, that's a tough 2 weeks right there. You got Oakland the week before and now Kansas City. So they looked impressive last weekend. I watched most of the game at least. So I like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow pulled one out against Kansas City. I just think.
So you're 2. I'm 2-2. You're 1-3 for picks this year.
Great. I suck. Well, no problem. Yeah.
The New England game and the Buffalo game are about to end. 40 seconds left on both.
I saw the New England. What's the score? Where?
30 all, but Carolina has the ball and New England's 34, so they're moving it.
Shit. What a comeback. Brady again. It was 30-16 at one point.
I mean,
Brady is saving this defense ass. Like,
seems like all for naught, though. It seems like Carolina's moving the ball.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Buffalo stopped Atlanta. Wow. Buffalo's going to beat them. Thank God.
What a win.
I think Matt Ryan's been bad this year. Like, if you looked at the last 2 weeks, this week he went 24 for 41, 2 picks and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Last week he threw 3 picks. I think people need to stop on that. This has been my big thing this year. Yeah. He's so overrated. Like, he is just the most overrated quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I disagree a little, but that could be
How?
I just think, like, okay, like, he's obviously not the most, like, poised quarterback in tough situations, but he puts up stats. He wins games for his team.
Stats. Okay, every quarterback puts up
Matt,
stats.
he had to get to the Super Bowl somehow last year. And, like, he hasn't looked, like, I understand Green Bay's defense is depleted, much like the Patriots, but, like, he still looked good in that game, and you can't just deny that. Like, he's looked great in
but
games.
they look even more depleted than New England's defense. They had, like, half their starters were out, and our whole offensive line was out, too.
Now, I don't know if I told you this, but Eric Rowe got hurt, too, for the Pats. So that's another injured. Like, we every week we have at least one.
Yeah, I agree. And, the Pats lose games, too. That's why the Pats are 2-1. It was like the Kansas City game, but for Green Bay. So, I don't know. I just think he's been, like, pretty mediocre. I mean, you barely beat the Bears.
Yeah.
You barely beat Detroit, and then you lose to Buffalo. Like I'm not impressed by Atlanta. I'm just not. Like, I know they're 3-0. I know. But I think if Julio Jones got hurt, if that Julio Jones injury is serious, they're probably not very good.
Well, they need him, yeah. He's like a top 3 receiver.
I'd rather Matt Stafford than Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
And I'm getting to the point where I'd rather Kirk Cousins than Matt Ryan because Cousins.
See, I don't know though, because Matt, he made the Super Bowl though. Like, I think that's a big deal
with good weapons. Like,
yeah, I know, but you're telling me Matt Stafford's never had good weapons? He's had his Julio Jones.
Okay, but that was when he was. I'm saying right now. I'm not saying career-wise. Carolina just beat New England.
But that's making an excuse. Like, that's making an excuse for
I'm not making an excuse. Matt Ryan isn't the same quarterback that he was 2 years ago. I think that's not fair.
All right.
He's matured. He's like 28 now. Now he's in his prime. Like,
Carolina just won. All right.
I just said that.
I know, but like officially.
No, I know. I just said that.
Oh, I was probably yelling about Matt Ryan when you said it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a 2-2 for New England.
That's a fuck our defense, honestly. Brady, it's not your fault. I still love you.
We'll end the show with this, Ryan. Do you think New England's a Super Bowl team?
No, not right now. But anything's possible with TB12.
I think AR12, man.
I still love you.
What a great win that was Thursday. That was just take care of business. Let's get out of here with a nice dub. That was a nice win.
Well,
I was a proud papa.
it's all right, New England fans. We'll be there. Anyway.
Yeah, that's our pod for this week.
Yeah.
A lot of football, a lot of thoughts.
Yeah, a lot of thoughts.
Season's been pretty good so far. I'll give it credit.
Yeah.
NFC, I'm really curious to see how the wild card picture starts to develop over the past couple of years.
I agree.
Weeks, I mean, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But we'll keep talking about it as the show goes on. So next week we'll be back in the actual studio to do our show. So be ready for that. I'll put this up at some point today, so you can listen in on the 2 reviews Matt gave, and as well as our football thoughts. Like, share, subscribe at the Movies with Matt and Ryan. Enjoy this nice weather, and we'll see you guys soon.